After slip stitching to join, we're going to start making another row of V-stitches. Directly behind where you slip stitch to join is the V-stitch that we skipped. So we're going to slip stitch into that V-stitch, like that. V-stitch that we skipped is behind where we joined these two crocodile shells. So we're going to chain 3 and double crochet in the same stitch. And that forms our first V-stitch of the next row. So now we're going to make a V-stitch in the center of the next crocodile shell. Double crochet, chain 1, double crochet. Like that. Now move this junction aside, and we're going to make a V-stitch in that skipped V-stitch of the previous row. Like that. We're going to make a V-stitch in the center of the next crocodile shell. Then we're going to move this junction aside, make a V-stitch in that skipped V-stitch of the previous row. And you're going to continue to work that way across the row. V-stitch in the crocodile shell, V-stitch in the skipped V-stitch, V-stitch in the center of the next crocodile shell, V-stitch in the next skipped V-stitch, stitch in the center of the crocodile shell, V-stitch in the next skipped V-stitch, stitch in the next crocodile shell, and we're at the end of the row. We're going to slip stitch to join. So we've now formed another row of V-stitch. To begin the next row, we're going to make another row of crocodile shells, and we're going to make them so that the shell on this row is going to lie between the two shells on this row. So we're going to make our first crocodile shell in this stitch. So we're going to chain 2, and we're going to make 3 more double crochets down the first part of this V-stitch. 1, 2, 3. We've completed the first part of the crocodile shell. So now we're going to chain 1 to form the point of the shell, and we're going to turn, and we're going to work up the other side of the V-stitch. We're going to make 4 double crochets in the side of this V-stitch. And 4. So here you can see that we have the crocodile shells on the previous row, and now we've made our first crocodile shell for this row, and it's sitting between these two. So we're going to continue across the row. We're going to skip this V-stitch, and we're going to make a crocodile shell in this V-stitch. So we're going to double crochet 4 times in this side of the V-stitch. 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going to chain 1 for the point. We're going to turn. We're going to work up the opposite side of the V-stitch. We're going to make 4 double crochets. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And so you can see we've made 2 shell stitches, and they both lie between the shell stitches of the previous row. continuing across the row. We're going to skip this V-stitch and we're going to make a crocodile shell in this V-stitch. So 4 double crochets in the first side of the V-stitch. 1, 2, 3, and 4. We're going to chain 1. We're going to turn the work. We're going to make 4 double crochets in the opposite side of the V-stitch. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Continuing across the row, we're going to skip this V-stitch, double crochet in this V-stitch. Chain 1 and turn. Work 4 double crochets in the opposite side of the V-stitch. Continuing across the row, we're going to skip this V-stitch. We're going to make a crocodile shell in this V-stitch. So 1, 2, 3, 4, chain 1, turn, work back up the opposite side of the V-stitch. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Working across the row, we'll skip this V-stitch. We're going to make a crocodile shell in this V-stitch. 4 double crochets, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Chain 1 and turn. 4 double crochets in the opposite side of the V-stitch. We skip this V-stitch and we're going to slip stitch to join in the top of the chain 2 beginning of the other crocodile shell. So here's how it looks at this stage, and the next step is going to be to make another row of V-stitches. So we'll proceed to the next step.